It was a cold December night when another miracle of the Virgin Mary took place, shaking the entire medical team of St. Catherine's Children's Hospital. This extraordinary case involved a 7-year-old boy named Marcus Rivera, who was battling severe meningitis that did not respond to any conventional treatment. Marcus Rivera had been hospitalized for 3 weeks. What had started as a simple fever had quickly developed into serious bacterial meningitis. His parents, Elena and Carlos Rivera, had not left the hospital for days. The situation was becoming desperate. Dr. Patricia Hernandez, with 22 years of experience in pediatrics, had never seen a case so resistant to treatments. All the most powerful antibiotics had been tried, but the inflammation in Marcus's brain simply would not respond. Before continuing, I want to ask you a sincere question. Are you ready to answer Mary's call for your life? If your answer is yes, comment, "I am ready." And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because here miracles happen every day. Elena and Carlos, I need to be honest with you. Dr. Hernandez said during a meeting on a Tuesday morning, "We are running out of options. Marcus's condition is not progressing as we had hoped." Elena held her husband's hand tightly, trying to hold back the tears. "Doctor, what does that mean exactly?" "It means we may need to consider more aggressive measures. Perhaps transfer Marcus to the pediatric ICU and consider mechanical ventilation," Dr. Hernandez explained gravely. Carlos Rivera, a man of deep faith, felt the world collapsed. "Doctor, how much time do we have to make this decision?" "We will monitor Marcus over the next 48 hours. If there is no significant improvement, we will have to act." That night, Elena decided to remain at the hospital. She settled into the armchair beside the bed, determined not to leave her son's side. Around 2 o'clock in the morning, Marcus stirred and suddenly opened his eyes. "Mom," he called with a weak voice. "I'm here, sweetheart. How are you feeling?" The boy did not answer right away. His eyes were fixed on the right corner of the room, near the window. Elena noticed something different in that look. It wasn't fear, but a mixture of surprise and calm. "Mom, there's a lady over there." Elena quickly turned, but found only the curtain and the soft light from the hallway. She tried to smile so as not to make him nervous. "Marcus, there's no one there. Maybe you're dreaming." "No, Mom. She's here. She's in blue like a princess." Elena stood up, went to the window, and pulled the curtain wider, showing the emptiness. "Mijo, see, there's no one, my love." But Marcus did not take his eyes away. "She smiled at me, Mom," he murmured, almost in a trance. A shiver ran down Elena's spine. Not knowing what to think, she called a night shift nurse. Minutes later, Angela entered the room. Experienced, she checked the monitors and took notes, surprised at what she saw. Curious, his vital signs are better than they've been in days. Angela looked at Elena and spoke softly, trying to calm her. Sometimes, when they're very weak, children can have different experiences. But look, the important thing is that he seems to be at peace. Marcus slowly closed his eyes and for the first time in weeks fell into a deep sleep without moaning or tossing. The following morning, Dr. Hernandez was genuinely surprised by the improvement in Marcus's appearance. The boy was more alert and his breathing seemed less labored. "Marcus, how did you sleep?" "Very well, doctor. The lady in blue took care of me." Dr. Hernandez looked questioningly at Elena, who then explained the events of the previous night. "Doctor, I'm worried the medication might be causing these visions," Elena said. "We'll run new tests today. It could be a side effect of the drugs, but the important thing is that Marcus seems to be getting better," Dr. Hernandez replied. That afternoon's blood work revealed the first real improvement in 3 weeks. His white blood cell count had dropped, indicating that Marcus's body was finally starting to fight off the infection. "This is encouraging," Dr. Hernandez remarked to the medical team. "We may be witnessing the beginning of the recovery we've been hoping for." On the second night, Marcus awoke again around 2 o'clock in the morning. Elena, exhausted, was still in the room. When she noticed her son open his eyes, she saw him staring at the same corner near the window. "She's back, Mom," Marcus whispered with a faint smile. Elena restrained the urge to deny or question him. She decided simply to watch. The boy remained quiet, serene, as though he were in the presence of someone who gave him peace. "Marcus, what are you seeing?" she asked, her voice trembling. "The lady in blue. She's taking care of me," he answered softly. As she listened to her son's words, Elena was overcome by a strange sensation. She closed her eyes for a moment. A gentle fragrance like that of fresh roses began to fill the room. She wondered where it could have come from. At that moment, she realized Marcus's breathing was lighter, calmer than it had been in all the previous weeks. The next morning, Marcus's vital signs showed even more significant improvement. Dr. Hernandez was intrigued. "In all my career, I've never seen such a rapid recovery," she commented to Angela. "Doctor, may I speak with you in private?" Angela asked. They walked to a reserved area of the hallway. "Dr. Hernandez, Marcus isn't the first child to report seeing a female figure dressed in blue during recovery." "What do you mean?" "In 15 years here, I've heard at least 6 similar accounts. Always gravely ill children, always the same description, and always during the period when they began to recover in an extraordinary way." Dr. Hernandez remained silent for a moment. "Angela, do you have any theory about this? May I show you something?" Angela led Dr. Hernandez to a window at the end of the corridor that overlooked the hospital's small inner courtyard. "Do you see that garden down there?" Dr. Hernandez looked through the glass. It was a small, well-kept green space with flowers and a few small trees. "Yes, I see it. There's a small statue of Our Lady of Guadalupe at the center of that garden. It was placed there when the hospital was founded 42 years ago. Dr. William Carter, who was very devout, installed the image of Our Lady to protect the children admitted here." Dr. Hernandez managed to make out the small figure among the plants. "All the cases I mentioned happened in rooms facing that garden. Marcus's room is directly above the statue." "That is interesting," Dr. Hernandez murmured, processing the information. "Doctor, I'm not suggesting anything. I'm only pointing out patterns I've noticed over the years." On the third night, Elena had fallen asleep in the armchair beside the bed. She was awakened by her son's soft voice, calling, "Mom, look, she's here again." Elena opened her eyes and saw Marcus sitting, his gaze fixed at the foot of the bed. At first, she noticed nothing but the silence of the room. Yet, the boy's expression carried an unusual peace. "Marcus, what are you seeing?" she asked, trying to hide her anxiety. "It's the lady in blue. She's right here. Look very close to me." Marcus smiled faintly, like someone receiving tender attention. He took a deep breath and whispered softly, "Now she's gone, but I feel better, Mom. Much better." The next morning, Dr. Hernandez was astonished at Marcus's transformation. The boy was sitting up in bed with an appetite, and his breathing was almost normal. "Marcus, how are you feeling today? Can I go home?" The new tests were extraordinary. The brain inflammation had drastically reduced. It was as if Marcus had leapt forward by weeks of recovery in just one night. "Elena, this is unusual," Dr. Hernandez said. "Honestly, I have never seen such rapid improvement in a case so severe." "Doctor, do you think there's any explanation?" Dr. Hernandez hesitated. As a physician, she had been trained to seek scientific explanations, but this case defied her understanding. "Frankly, I have no conventional medical explanation for this recovery. Sometimes the human body surprises us all." That afternoon, Angela suggested to the Rivera family that they visit the small indoor garden before Marcus was discharged. "There's something there that Marcus might find interesting," she said mysteriously. The family went down to the ground floor and found the little garden. It was a peaceful, well-kept place with a stone path leading to the center. In the middle of the garden, partially hidden by flowering bushes, stood a statue about 60 centimeters tall. It was an image of Our Lady of Guadalupe dressed in blue garments in a pose of maternal protection. Marcus immediately recognized the figure. "Mom, that's her. That's the lady in blue who came into my room." Elena felt a deep emotion run through her body. She instantly grasped the significance of the moment. Carlos was visibly moved as he witnessed his son's reaction. At the base of the statue, there was a bronze plaque. "Our Lady of Guadalupe, donation of Dr. William Carter, 1982. 42 years, Elena murmured. "How many other children has she protected?" Marcus walked closer to the statue and instinctively placed his hands together in prayer. "Thank you for taking care of me," he whispered. At that very moment, a gentle breeze stirred the flowers around the statue, even though no wind could be felt in other parts of the garden. Intrigued by his earlier conversation with Angela, Dr. Hernandez decided to discreetly review the medical records. She discovered a remarkable pattern. Over the past 15 years, there have been 7 documented cases of exceptionally fast recoveries in gravely ill children, all of them hospitalized in rooms facing the indoor garden. She could not explain it scientifically, but the data was undeniable. Always critically ill children, always recoveries that surpassed all medical expectations, always in the same specific rooms overlooking the small statue of Our Lady of Guadalupe. The news of Marcus's miraculous recovery spread quickly among the families of the region. The priest of the local parish, Father Rodriguez, visited the hospital and spoke with the Rivera family. Our Lady often manifests in places of suffering, especially where children are in need, Father Rodriguez explained. Your experience is not unique in the history of the Church. Father, how should we understand what happened? Elena asked as a reminder that we are always under divine protection, especially in our most difficult moments. Marcus was blessed with a very special experience. Father Rodriguez obtained permission from the hospital administration to officially bless the small garden. The ceremony was simple but meaningful, attracting several families who had heard about Marcus's experience. In the following weeks, the little garden began to receive silent visitors. Families with hospitalized children would come to pray discreetly, occasionally leaving small flowers near the statue. The hospital administration, initially hesitant about religious attention, decided to embrace the positive aspect the garden brought to families in difficult times. Marcus went home completely healed. His case became one of the most remarkable in Dr. Hernandez's career, leading her to pay more attention to aspects of healing that she could not scientifically measure. Angela continued her work with a new perspective on the importance of listening to and respecting the spiritual experiences of patients and their families. The small garden became known among hospital staff as the Garden of Miracles. Nurses often discreetly mentioned its existence to families going through particularly difficult times. 2 months after Marcus's discharge, another similar case occurred. A 6-year-old girl named Sophia began reporting visions of a beautiful lady in blue during her nights in the hospital. Sophia was in the same room Marcus had once occupied. Her recovery followed a surprisingly similar pattern. Slow at first, then a dramatic improvement after the nightly experiences. Dr. Hernandez carefully documented this second case, beginning to form a theory about psychological and spiritual factors in pediatric recovery that went beyond conventional medical protocols. Angela observed that Sophia described exactly the same apparition Marcus had reported without having any prior knowledge of the boy's experience. Children have a spiritual openness that we adults often lose, Angela commented to Dr. Hernandez. Perhaps they're more receptive to forms of healing that we do not fully understand. The Rivera family returned to the hospital several times, not for medical appointments, but to visit the garden and give thanks for Marcus's recovery.